Fáilte go Pork na Stiffany e Mail an Áha. You are welcome to James Stephens Park in Ballina. We're at the home of the 2005 All-Ireland Club Football Champions, the setting for the second of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Football Championship semi-finals. And wherever you're watching on this Sunday lunchtime, we hope you can stay with us for the most novel of semi-finals as Belmullet and Westport get ready to battle it out in search of the second golden ticket to the 2021 County Senior Football Final. And what a perfect setting we have. Another beautiful day for a game of football, and the stage set for a game that has everybody wondering just who will grab that second spot in the county final, with Knockmore, the defending champions, already safely there after their win last night over Garrymore in Bacon. Now we're going to take a check on the teams. We'll start with Belmullet, I do believe. And there are a number of changes to the Belmullet team that was named in the match programme. Number 24, Shane Nallen. No major surprise to see he starts in goal. The very experienced former Mayo minor keeper, who has played quite a bit of football out the field during his career as well. He will again be between the sticks. Just in front of him is the team captain, Colin Barrett. He's actually the on-field captain for Belmullet this season, with Eamon McAndrew still out injured, the captain from the beginning of the season. But Colin Barrett doing a fine job. Owen O'Donoghue at number 6 is a name that will be very familiar, I'm sure, to viewers and Mayo supporters. While up front, 3 changes from the forward line that was announced in the match programme. In come number 23, Kieran Conway, number 27, Fionn Ryan, and number 22, Owen McHale, with James O'Donnell, Patrick Cowman and Dylan Walker, the 3 players who dropped to the bench. And Belmullet's top scorer, Ryan O'Donoghue, he wears 14. He is nominally named at full forward, but I think we can expect to see Ryan pop up anywhere across that forward division over the course of the afternoon. Just a quick look then at the Belmullet subs bench. As I mentioned, James O'Donnell, Patrick Cowman and Dylan Walker, they will all drop into the reserves, along with Marty Boyle and Cathal Barrett. I'd imagine 2 players we may well see before the day is out. We'll take a quick look at the Westport team now, while also pausing for the national anthem, Our Own Navian. Well, the national anthem played in good time here. Just to confirm then, the Westport team, there's 1 change to the side named in the programme. Number 17, Oisin McLaughlin, replaces Killian Kilkelly, who drops out of the squad. And of course, no Kevin Kane, still hasn't recovered from the injury that kept him out of much of Westport's dramatic quarter-final win over Ballina Stephenites. Our match referee here in Ballina this afternoon is Kevin Kennelly from Hollymount Carramore. Martin Carney is alongside me in the commentary position. Martin, Westport hot favourites to go to their first county senior final for 40 years, but Belmullet have brought a big crowd. They bring momentum, they bring a lot of confidence, and they feel they've got a real shot at this.
Why wouldn't they have a real shot? I don't see Westport being hot favourites at all, actually. They haven't been in a senior county final as far as I know. And Belmullet, to me, I saw their game against Bravey. They're highly combative, Mike. Of all the teams I've seen, they certainly won't spare themselves out there, and they won't spare Westport. And here we go.
So away we go. Lovely day for a game. As I said, some 1,500 tickets, I gather, were sold for this match yesterday. I think we've had a fair few extra ones gone in the last 24 hours as well. And I would imagine close to 2,000 people could be here in Ballina watching Westport and Belmullet go toe-to-toe. Westport playing in the traditional sky blue colours, Belmullet in the red and white, and an early free against Owen McLaughlin for over-carrying. And Belmullet will get a chance to build from the back, and an early touch for Owen O'Donoghue, who gets the ball moving in the right direction from a Belmullet perspective. But Martin, a lot of focus on how Belmullet will set up here. They tend to play deep, get a lot of men behind the ball, and make it very hard for the opposition to break them down, as ironically they go on the attack right from the start, and Jason Boylan wins a free. But it's been a feature of their performances so far. Defend on block and break at pace.
Very much so, like, get everybody back. The other issue too I'm looking forward to is where they will decide to play Ryan O'Donoghue. That to me will be the intriguing shall we say contest of the match, is where he plays and who takes him up. And I notice already, actually, I think Rory Brickington is actually maybe or is it Lee Keegan is taking him at the moment. Number 7, I think, for Belmullet already. The Shea O'Donoghue has gone down injured.
So some early work for the Belmullet physio to take care of, and no surprise to see Ryan O'Donoghue stepping up to this first free. Belmullet's leading scorer in the championship hit a goal and 3 on this field against Bravey in the quarter-final. Conditions perfect. He's just inside the 45. It's going to drop close. It drops short and gathered back there by the distinctive figure of the Westport captain, Lee Keegan, who found himself under that dropping ball. But that first free from Ryan O'Donoghue just dropping short of goal. Now Kevin Kennelly is going back in here. He felt there was a late challenge on Paddy O'Malley by the Belmullet man. And a lot of focus, Martin, let's be honest, on the referee today. Kevin Kennelly has got the appointment. He's very experienced. He will lay the law down early, you'd imagine. And he's just done that.
He's just done that. He's issued a black card, I think, to one of the Belmullet lads. A feature of the Belmullet game against Bravey was the amount of, shall we say, unpunished fouling that went on. Kevin Kennelly today will be very, very, very strict in that department.
Yeah, that was Shea O'Donoghue, younger brother of Ryan, who's just been shown a black card in the third minute here, and that very simply means Belmullet are down to 14 players for the next 10 minutes as Shea O'Donoghue goes to the sin bin. So an early blow for Belmullet, who are playing today in their first county senior semi-final for 35 years, looking to go to a county senior final just 3 years after winning the intermediate. But now they have a man deficit, but crucially they have the ball. And they've had an awful lot of the ball in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, they're very good at holding on to possession, and you'll see a greater emphasis on that now from now on when they're down to 14 men. But again, Kevin Kennelly is already actually putting a stamp on the game. I know he won't spoil it, but at the same time he wants to, shall we say, impose his authority from the opening minutes and basically tell both teams get out and play football.
Just spotted Kevin Kennelly's umpires heading into position before the game. By my reckoning, 3 of them have county senior medals at home in the drawer. James Regan and the Jennings brothers, Ardle and Jarlath, all county senior championship winners with Hollymount back in the day, as that ball is delivered into the corner and won inside by O'Donoghue. He's being picked up by Keegan. He slipped Keegan. He's gone down. Well, it's a free in. Kevin Kennelly had already blown for the initial foul, but if he hadn't, that would have been a penalty, of course. And Lee Keegan is being called out here by Kevin Kennelly, who wants a word. So Kevin Kennelly, well, he's been busy, shall we say, in the first 4 minutes. Black card for Keegan, and just Look at the reaction of the Belmullet supporters down behind the goal. What a dramatic start we've had to this semi-final, as over goes Evan Ivers to have a word in the ear of the Westport captain.
Yeah,
so
there's
both
no
teams down to 14 men.
Yeah, fascinating start already. Ryan O'Donoghue, as you said, when he got the ball in that position, he was fouled initially. But had Kevin Kennelly not called that particular free at that stage, basically it would have been a penalty. But Keegan has been ruled to have done it deliberately, pulled down deliberately.
So 4.5 minutes gone, and Ryan O'Donoghue kicks the opening score of the county senior semi-final. And we can only assume then that Kevin Kennelly has sent Keegan to the bin for a deliberate pull down. Credit to O'Donoghue, he got back up again and tried to play on, but there were 2 fouls committed. They got the first free and Belmullet lead. And what about that for a catch from Fionn Ryan in the centre of the field, the big number 27. And Belmullet have started this game very, very confidently.
Very confidently indeed, and it was epitomised by that fetch actually by Fionn Ryan. He had a superb game actually against Brafey. Got a wonderful goal in that game. Quite lethargic at times, but a fine player.
Great hit by Owen McLaughlin on Owen O'Donoghue. Belmullet get the free. Kevin Kennelly just illustrating and demonstrating there why it was given, as away goes James Kelly, herring down this right-hand side for Belmullet. Cuts in onto his left foot, and that's just wide on his own side. But all the pressure, remember, is on Westport coming into this game. They're the team that are strongly fancy to win, maintain their 100% record and go to the final. But it's Belmullet who have made a mockery of the odds and made a mockery of their outsiders tag time and again throughout this championship, who lead here by a point to no score. And in case you've joined us late, 2 players right now in the sin bin, Shea O'Donoghue from Belmullet and Lee Keegan from Westport. Here's Owen O'Donoghue, the man who pulls all the strings from centre back. Links with Owen McHale, played under 20 with Mayo earlier this year, and now Shane Nallen. And this is a feature of Shane Nallen's role in the Belmullet team, as away he goes into the Westport half. He's played so much football outfield during his career, he's comfortable. Belmullet have lost the ball though, and in any event touched on the ground by, I think that's Paul Lambert.
Paul Lambert, yes. But again, just a feature of Shane Nallen's game has been his tendency to attack. But when he does that, he can't afford to give the ball away as he did in that last instance. Had Westport been a little sharper at that time and counter-attacked with purpose, they had an open goal, believe it or not, in front of them. Even though there was a good distance of travel.
So Ryan O'Donoghue steps up to this second free, looking for his second of the game. Well, he's one of the very best in the country, both from open play and from frees like that. And after 7 minutes, things could not be going much better from a Belmullet point of view, and from Damien Mulligan's point of view. They're 2 in front. 2 in front.
They're young, they're fit, they're fearless, and they're going to play with great purpose throughout. And again, their ability to fetch ball around the middle of the field, in particular to Fionn Ryan, has been a feature of the game already.
Owen McLaughlin went short for the kick out from Paddy O'Malley. Gets his free, links with Oisín McLaughlin down this left wing. McLaughlin driving hard towards the Belmullet goal. Brian McDermott has made a run forward. Support to his left and right. This is Colin Moran, and that's a terrific score for Westport. It's taken them almost 8 minutes to open their account. No major surprise to see that first score comes from the boot of Colin Moran.
Yeah, both he in one corner, Alan Kennedy in the other, have been particularly prominent for Westport in the championship so far. But was delightful about Moran that time. He didn't have to take a solo run, he didn't have to take a side step, just got his sights on the target and hit it confidently between the sticks.
Just looking in terms of matchups, Conan O'Connor is picking up Colin Moran. Fionn McDonough is at centre forward in direct opposition to Owen O'Donoghue, while it looks like number 9, Evan Ivers, is going with Oisín McLaughlin out around the middle of the field, and Owen Healy is picking up Owen McLaughlin. Alan Kennedy just caught as he tried to go by the defender, wins a free for Westport. Oisín McLaughlin looking to get on with it quickly, spots the run inside of Colin Moran. Moran pushed in the back by O'Connor. Westport get the free.
Yeah, he's out in front every time. I met a zone collection on the beach in Bertrand during the week. Tomas O'Grady, famous player from the, shall we say, the 80s and 90s, and he was really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, Tomas O'Grady would love this type of game. There's a cut to it, there's an edge to it, there's a great atmosphere here in Ballina as well, and why wouldn't there be? This county semi-final has started just the way we wanted. 9 minutes gone, and it is a very slender advantage for Belmullet as Alan Kennedy steps up to this free. This to bring us level. Didn't make good contact at all. Drops right into the hands of the waiting James Kelly. He's got Pat Lambert chasing after him. Runs into Scott and Kennedy. Lost the ball in the tackle, and Pat Lambert does well. Well, Westport rolled their sleeves up there and worked hard, and they get their reward.
Yeah, and again, James Kelly will be disappointed with that. He's been very prominent in the opening 8 or 9 minutes of the game, but that time needlessly ran into traffic. And good defending by the Westport attackers resulted in the turnover, and Alan Kennedy can make amends now for his last miss.
Worth mentioning as well, with Lee Keegan gone to the sin bin, Westport have put Rory Brickenden right in on the edge of the square to mark Ryan O'Donoghue, and at the moment they're the only two outfield players inside the Westport 45 as Alan Kennedy kicks the free, and that means that Belmullet's 2-point lead has been wiped out. Points from Colin Moran and Alan Kennedy, and the side are all square. But it's coming to the boil beautifully, isn't it?
It's coming to the boil. It's been a fine game so far. Perfect conditions out there. Anybody watching on, if we just could say, there's very little wind, sunshine, and just great setting for the game.
Lovely autumnal feel to it all right as James Kelly wins the free. They've got Ryan O'Donoghue inside all on his own, and Kelly was trying to service him, but Kevin Kennelly wasn't happy that the free was being taken from the correct position. He's going to bring it back again, but you can see Belmullet's tactic when they go forward, Martin. You could see it from a mile away. They're leaving Ryan O'Donoghue inside in 50 yards of space.
In 1v1 situations, James Brickenden will be really concentrated to keep an eye on him. This time, okay, they've gone short instead, Mike.
O'Donoghue to Kelly, and back to O'Donoghue again. Now Fionn Ryan. Short, pop little pass to Jason Boylan. O'Donoghue again, handles so much ball. The full-back is going to wind up. It's Colin Barrett. He's gone for it. He struck it quite cleanly, but it drops short, gathered by Brickenden. There's a strong sun shining down into that goal. That's why Paddy O'Malley has fished the baseball cap out of his gear bag, and Westport deal with that danger. Belmullet didn't kill that ball, and now Westport will try and break at pace. They've hit the last 2 points of the game, and they've finally settled into their rhythm, Martin.
Yeah, they've got the rhythm. That was a very, very, very important catch by Brickenden back in his full back line. As you said in commentary, Mike, it was a 1v1 situation with O'Donoghue. Any mistake that time would have been punished by O'Donoghue. But Westport, when they counter-attack, their handling has been very assured up to now, and they're confidently finding one another.
Both teams, remember, still playing with 14 men. Shea O'Donoghue should be back from the sin bin shortly. Lee Keegan is also cooling his heels at the moment in the Westport dugout. He'll be a little longer. That's a heavy hit on Pat Lambert. Pat and Paul Lambert, sons of the Westport Club chairman Charlie Lambert, and Pat's industry there results in a free for Westport. As back into the game comes Shea O'Donoghue, the Belmullet number 7. There he is. His time in the sin bin has come to an end. So for the moment, for the next few minutes, Belmullet will have an extra man. Shea O'Donoghue on the ball immediately. Colin Moran, by the way, is still down on his hunkers over on the far side of the field there. Took a heavy knock as Shane Nallen decides to stretch his legs again. Man who works as a Garda in Westport, so he'll know plenty of these opponents fairly well from his strolls around the town. As the ball is fed inside towards O'Donoghue, just breaks off him. Returned to him fairly quickly again. He's the man that directs the operations and calls the shots. Lovely pass across to Evan Ivers. He's trying to go past Oisin McLaughlin, and Evan Ivers gets his free. Well, they're running hard at the Westport men every time they can, and that time Oisin McLaughlin just found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time, free in.
Yeah, but again, was a feature of that move actually was O'Donoghue's vision. Some of the times people talk about his physical strength and his competitiveness and all of that, but he's wonderful vision and a great ability to instinctively make the right decision. And that time a nice little ding pass resulted in the attack continuing, the free being conceded by Westport, and now O'Donoghue's a chance to put his third score on the board.
Ryan O'Donoghue turned 23 during the summer. He has a couple of seasons under his belt with the Mayo senior team at this stage. And again, it's a nice straightforward one for him. Brings his personal tally up to 3. He's Belmullet's only scorer after 14 minutes. 3 frees from Ryan. And Belmullet are back in front, 3-2. kick out delivered to the centre of the field and breaks to Owen McLaughlin, but his first solo let him down. He was under pressure from Owen Healy, and that was enough to knock him out of his stride, and Belmullet have the line ball taken quickly. Dahi Cosgrove gets a touch, pop forward to the runner, and Westport are caught out of position here as herring in on goal goes Kieran Conway. He's got Ryan to his right, he's been fouled, it's going to be a free. Kevin Kennelly had his hand in the air to signal he was playing an advantage, but the Westport backline there was nowhere to be seen when Belmullet broke, and that could easily have ended up in the back of the net. Belmullet get a free.
Yeah, had there been a little quicker exchange of passes that time, Fionn Ryan it was the player who would make the run, made it come up in support, and had the ball been transferred to him that millisecond quicker, I think there was a goal on in that situation. But again, in future, as you said, Mike, they will keep Ryan O'Donoghue up there as isolated as it possibly can, but the support play coming in when the ball is up front has been outstanding.
So Lee Keegan trots back in to the game after 15 minutes. He's done his stint in the sin bin. So it's as you were, 15 plays 15. And a chance for Ryan O'Donoghue to extend the Belmullet lead. Well, his frees so far have been so straightforward and academic, and he's hit 4 of them flawlessly between the sticks. And it's double scores. It's
double scores, and kind of from a territorial point of view, Mike, all of the game has been really concentrating up to our right. Basically, Belmullet be having most of the joy around the middle of the field, and any time Westport attack, the turnovers have been regular, and Westport will be, or Belmullet rather, will be very happy with this opening.
Tellingly, Lee Keegan has gone straight in to full back again to pick up Ryan O'Donoghue. He did get forward here to start this attack that's been continued by Brian McDermott. Back to Luke Tunney. And Shane Scott recycles it to Keegan again. Ryan O'Donoghue has stayed forward, and Paul Lambert has gone back to pick him up just for the moment to make sure he's unattended. As Westport play the ball around and try to find a gap. Keegan again. Belmullet have dropped a dozen men back into their own half. Colin Moran manages to get a hand to it, but is pocket picked by Shea O'Donoghue to Owen, and Owen O'Donoghue forward to Ryan, who had drifted back the field just to give his teammates an option, an outlet. Ryan O'Donoghue pops it left, and this is Owen McHale, very highly rated young footballer who has the confidence to go all the way back to Nallen, and he will come out and play fly goalie.
Yeah, and the team that is playing with all the confidence at the moment, using your word, Mike, is Belmullet. They're very composed, they're finding their men with greater ease, and they're imposing their, shall we say, brand of football on the game. And when they break with purpose, they break with speed, and they're causing much more problems to the Westport offence than, shall we say, is happening in the opposite way.
Owen O'Donoghue comes striding out of defence again. He really does look the part every time he gets forward. Now Colin Barrett loves to get up the field as well. Barrett struck it sweetly, but just didn't have the legs, drops short. It's not the first time that they've come up and left a score behind.
That's right. That's the second time actually it has happened where they've had good opportunities, where they've made the incision, where the openings have appeared in front of them, but underhit that time. Now Westport have the opportunity to counter-attack.
Of course, Belmullet do have a good track record here in James Stephens Park. It has been a very happy hunting ground for them this season. Beat Ahamore here in the group stages. Were too good for Brafey here a couple of weeks ago in the quarter-final. And all those little things, Martin, all those marginal gains seem to be adding up in the first quarter.
Yeah, and the other thing that is actually wanting to compliment, we give out enough about them, Mike, and that's the referees. But Kevin Kennelly in the first 5 minutes stamped his authority on that game and told the players in the way he acted that he wasn't going to put up with any messing. And the game is benefiting as a consequence.
It certainly is. And now, very much it is a full-blooded end-to-end contest as both teams go for it, and certainly Owen McHale is going for it. Great run. He's made a good solid 50 yards or so, leaving Westport men trailing in his wake. Ball is now popped back into the hands of Jason Boylan. Westport have reset their defence. Everybody's in position. I can see corner forward sprinting back as well to try and clog things up, and Belmullet are forced to go back around, take the scenic route to goal, but this will not bother them one bit. They're very comfortable holding possession. They're very comfortable being patient. Now they deliver the pass in towards O'Donoghue, and it's that man, the forward catcher himself, Lee Keegan, who comes across to take care of it.
Yeah, maybe Ryan went down too easily that time, but Keegan was vigilant, won the break, and now initiated the counter-attack. But it's interesting watching it. Immediately he actually gave the ball, he went back to O'Donoghue.
Well, 19 minutes gone. Maybe Kevin Kennelly is enjoying this first half as much as we are. No sign of the water break yet, and Belmullet happy enough to play away. Good ball, drilled in low to O'Donoghue. Keegan is trying to stand him up. Two strong men. Keegan gets help from Fionn McDonough, and O'Donoghue bottles up and a free out, and a little psychological victory for Westport and Keegan.
Yeah, 2-0 for Keegan there in the last minute or two. Excellent defending. Standing his ground very well, but there's an awful lot of messing going on off the ball at the moment here, right out in front of us. This is where the actual linesmen have to take or catch the referee's attention, because if this is going to go and allowed unchecked, it's going to destroy the game.
Yeah, it's Evan Ivers and Oisin McLaughlin that have been wrestling with each other on the ground. I'm not sure how much of it the linesman Shane Corcoran actually saw, as the signal is given for the water break, and that will give tempers a chance to cool down a little, and it will give Belmullet and Westport a chance to gather their thoughts. But let's talk about Belmullet, Martin. They're the team in picture. They're the team in the lead. I see Damien Mulligan, the manager there, Pather Gardner, his coach, to his left, Eamon Dixon and Roland McIntyre too. They'll be absolutely delighted.
They'll be thrilled with it. 20 minutes gone, they're 4 points to 2 up. They're playing all of the football. They're imposing their style of game on the play on the game, actually. Okay, we can complain maybe in some respects, in the sense that of the 6 points, 5 of them have been from frees. But overall, Belmullet have come here with a very, very defined style of isolating O'Donoghue up front, trying to get the ball up quickly to him. The minute Westport get the ball, they pull everybody back behind the ball. It's a game plan that every one of them seem very confident in executing, and so far it has been their game. There's no problem with their confidence. There's no problem with their self-belief. That has grown as the championship has gone on, and Westport will be just keen at the moment, keen to actually begin to impose their authority and their style and their class on the game. It has been absent up to now.
I think it's safe to say, judging by Damien Mulligan's body language there, that he's in the zone. He's up for this. He has won a handful of county senior championship medals himself with Crossmolina back in the day. He was an All-Ireland club winner, of course, 20 years ago as well. Now this is interesting. Kevin Kennelly wants a word with Jason Boylan. Yeah, Kevin Kennelly did grab a word with Frank Flynn, his linesman there, just before the water break, and it's a yellow for the Belmullet corner forward.
Yeah, well, as I said to you, just a couple of observations I had, actually. There was just too much pulling and messing going on off the ball. And again, in order to kind of, shall we say, put an end to that, cards are being issued. And it's the right thing to do.
No score, by the way, for Westport for 11 minutes and counting now. In the meantime, Belmullet have hit a couple of frees from Ryan O'Donoghue. He's still their only scorer. All 4 of his frees, or of his points rather, have come from frees. But they all count, and Belmullet deservedly out in front here, 4-2 ahead. Man soloing upfield is Owen Healy. Quick hand pass to Shea O'Donoghue. Well, Belmullet have introduced number 25. Not quite sure if that's a temporary substitution or not. It looks like it's Dara Murray who's come in. Yes, he's a big man. I'm
not sure who's gone off, actually, but they're holding on to possession. Physically, they're way sharper in the physical exchanges than Westport, and they're making every one of those, man-v-man individual contests count.
So Damien Mulligan and his backroom team just mixing things up a little, introducing Dara Murray around the middle as Conan O'Connor comes under pressure. But Belmullet get the benefit of the doubt. And I know a lot of people, Martin, when they were previewing this game and discussing the way it might go, the ideal scenario from a Belmullet point of view would be get ahead early, given the way they play, given the way they like to play. And this is exactly what Westport didn't want, to go behind and to have long periods where Belmullet hold possession and create chances for the likes of this man on the ball, Evan Ivers. It's certainly the last thing that Westport would want.
Yeah, and they're so abrasive, they're so tough in the tackle, and so, shall we say, confident in their game style, that they're a very difficult team to play against.
Well, Mikey Barrett seems to be the Belmullet player who has been taken out for some reason. We've just watched Darren Murray miss that chance to extend the Belmullet lead. And when you throw in a couple of wides, Martin, and a few missed opportunities as well, Belmullet should be further ahead.
Well, I think the 2 or 3 that have dropped short, I think, is that their first wide, Mike? I think it's the first or second anyway. But the 2 that dropped short were particularly kind of, shall we say, bad misses. And there again is the lack of confidence in the Westport lads going forward, kicking the ball aimlessly out over the sideline. They're not finding their men. They're not playing with any great self-belief. And they're finding it very difficult to actually come to terms with the abrasiveness of the Belmullet lads.
I see quite a few of the Knockmore players here in the crowd in Ballina. They have rolled out of bed and made the short journey over the road to watch their county final opponents in the flesh. County senior final will be played this day fortnight back here in Ballina. Knockmore against one of these two, Belmullet or Westport. Still a long way to go in this game, but it is Belmullet who have enjoyed so much possession and are dictating the pace and the tempo, who are ahead by 2 points as Westport head now towards 15 minutes almost without a point.
Yeah, the 2 guys that have really impressed me for Belmullet have been their 2 wing backs. They've been outstanding, actually.
Shane Nallen, I think, got a rush of blood to the head there. He went for glory and went for headlines from way out the field. It's dropped short, gathered back in the heart of the Westport defence and moved clear. Oisin McLaughlin accelerates down the left-hand side. This is reminiscent of the run he made in that All-Ireland final. He's gone straight through. Always a great chance, and he's blazed it wide. It was a throwback to that club final in Croke Park back in 2017 when he scorched the earth and got through to get a goal, but he just sliced his shot, and he really should have hit the target.
He should have hit the target, but there was 2 men coming in actually parallel to him. Had he actually just looked up, lifted the head and flicked the ball sideways, there was a definite goal chance on that time, and they badly butchered it. But nonetheless, from a Westport point of view, it should give them a little bit of upsurging confidence that has been so far absent.
Well, I'm sure Shane Nallen will tell you he had it covered. He had the angles worked out, but had Oisin McLaughlin hit that on the sweet spot, well, it could have been a different outcome. Belmullet go long, in over the top, looking for Jason Boylan. Just too much on it, though. Ran through to Keegan. Ryan O'Donoghue just looks a little frustrated there. He has his hands out as much as to say, what was that? Keegan has won the last 3 or 4 balls now that have gone in. O'Donoghue not getting the service he needs as Owen McLaughlin goes charging through. Again, there's a great big corridor of space in front of the Belmullet goal. Here's Colin Moran. Nallen pushes it up and over the bar. Another gilt-edge goal chance. This time Westport take a point. Credit to Nallen for the save, but Colin Moran will feel he should have done better.
Oh, he should have done better, and Shane Nallen knew nothing about that. The ball came at him instinctively, just he put the hands in front of his face there to protect him, but in doing so he flicked it over the bar. But one of the things that I'm just noticing, I'm just wondering, would Westport be better served by bringing Lee Keegan further forward out to the half-back midfield area, by marking one-on-one on O'Donoghue, who's too far back the field, I think, from a Westport point of view.
Well, right now, Lee Keegan is parked on the edge of his own square. He is shadowing Ryan O'Donoghue, and he is following out Martin Calvey and Martin Connolly's instructions to the letter. I see, just for the record as well, Niall McManaman is marking James Kelly, who seems to be operating in a floating role, but they also cancelling each other out so far. But it's 4-3 now, and that score from Colin Moran was Westport's first for a quarter of an hour.
That's right, and it was a very good score actually, and as you said earlier, Mikey, maybe it should have maybe been, a follow-on to a goal a couple of moments earlier, but what it should give Westport a lot of encouragement. It's the way Owen McLaughlin was able to get forward, shall we say, in the first one that created the move for Colin Moran, and the second one there, also the ease with which Owen McLaughlin and Oisin McLaughlin got forward.
Shane Nallen kicks it across over his shoulder, old school, to Conan O'Connor, and the ball forward. But again, they come down that central channel and there's a lot of bodies. Ball is booted clear only as far as O'Connor again. very congested middle third as Owen McHale tries to find some space. He was just caught there by the hand of Shane Scott as he tried to go by him. And the game just becoming a little bogged down there in that last passage of play in the middle of the field.
It is becoming a little bit bogged down, and actually on top of that, you know, the funny thing is in the earlier games that I've seen with Westport, Shane Scott has been particularly impressive for them. Today he's been quiet up to now. I think that was his first involvement in the game, actually.
I see Peadar Gardner running in with instructions. Still looks like he could tog out and play himself, Peadar Gardner, the Belmullet coach, Martin.
Oh, he's remarkably so svelte. You know, when you look at him, just so slim, so passionate. Actually, it was interesting the last day when I watched Belmullet play Brafey that in the second water huddle, he was the one that was giving all the instructions.
Yeah, Colin Barrett certainly had a lot of good things to say about Peadar Gardner and his coaching in an interview during the week. Certainly very popular on the training ground. He and Damien Mulligan, the former Crossmolina teammates. Player who's been worked on here is Owen McHale, and they won't want to lose him. Man who made a big impact with the Mayo under-20s earlier this season. Was on James Horan's radar actually as well at the beginning of the year. Spent some time in an extended Mayo senior squad at one stage, and good to see him back on his feet again as all eyes turn to Shane Nallen. What will he do next? He was weighing up his options there during the stoppage in play. Decides to clip it to Mikey Barrett. Solos up this right-hand side. Owen O'Donoghue makes a break off his shoulder. Goes by the first man and the second. Free out for overcarrying. He just took that step or two too many. Kevin Kennelly was giving him every chance. Free against Belmullet and some yardage because Owen didn't retreat quickly enough.
Yeah, but I think what is noticeable actually in the last 5 minutes or so is that Westport are starting to get much more involved in the game, starting to get a lot more, impetus going forward. Here I am kind of, with Belmullet after breaking them up. Westport, though, have improved in the last couple of minutes.
I make it now 13 minutes since Belmullet last scored. Remember, they haven't scored from play yet either. And there's no doubt that slowly and surely that Westport backline are starting to get to grips with Ryan O'Donoghue and company. And again there, the ball doesn't stick. Keegan back up from Niall McManaman, and they break in a little cluster of players. Luke Tunney it is who takes it clear. Belmullet are still ahead by a point, but Westport now starting to look more like their old selves as Lambert clips it forward to Colin Moran, being encouraged to take on his man, gives it to Alan Kennedy, twists into space, back over his shoulder to Moran again. He's the go-to man, he's the finisher. This time though, shoots it away to the left and wide.
Yeah, I think again Moran had a good opportunity that time, but once more we see an awful lot of off the ball, shall we say, shenanigans going on. Forward runs by a number of the Westport players being body checked by Belmullet players, and again I'd say Kevin Kennelly will have a word with his two linesmen at half time to actually maybe just, shall we say, get on top of that.
We're going to have at least 3 minutes of additional time. It's just been announced here at James Stephens Park. We're into the first of those now. Great take just inside the Westport half by, I think that may have been, was it Luke Tunney? He did really well. Sprinting forward is Paul Lambert. He's a real hard man to pin down. He's got such an explosive burst of pace, and he just dropped his shoulder into the tackle, and Owen McHale came over the top of him, and Westport get the free. And you can just sense very slowly, Martin, the tide is starting to turn ever so slightly.
Very much so, and Westport or Belmullet rather haven't scored since the 15-minute, Mike. It's a long time since they've scored, and when you look at it in another way, their 4 scores up to date have all been from frees. They haven't really threatened from play, and there's a disproportionate amount of the responsibility being placed on Ryan O'Donoghue's shoulders. He needs to get more help from the guys around him up front.
So Alan Kennedy then to kick the free. He's normally so accurate. He has kicked some big tallies en route to this county semi-final, and of course, just as we say that, he has shanked that well wide to the right, and that's 2 wides in a row, and it's a subdued end to the first half. I think Kevin Kennelly may have blown up just ever so slightly early, but in any event, it is half time. How are you getting on? being exchanged as the Belmullet and Westport lads head down the tunnel. And of course, Martin, there was an incident in the tunnel here a couple of weeks ago when Belmullet played Brafey. So it is a bit of a surprise to see the two teams being allowed in the tunnel at the one time.
Well, I'm very surprised at that, but what I'm happy about in this case is to see Kevin Kennelly come over. He recognised there was a danger imminent, came over, and actually both teams have gone in, shall we say, in peace rather than in war. But there is no doubt about it. A couple of weeks ago against Brafey, there was warfare in that tunnel at half time. Nothing was done about it, but I'm surprised today that both teams weren't instructed to go in separately.
Martin, a brief summary. We've reached the halfway mark. Belmullet lead 4-3, but if ever a scoreline didn't tell half the story, I think that's probably it.
That's true. Like, Belmullet started very well. I mean, they went into a 4.2 lead. They looked to be the dominant team, certainly up to the first water break. But I think Westport have settled well into the game actually since then. They had a couple of good opportunities for scores. One of them was a point by Colin Moran, but there was another good goaling chance that I think they missed. But I think if they get the ball a little bit quicker into the forward line, I think myself they have the quality in there. They're trying to run everything through the lines in order to kind of activate their inside line, whereas I think if the ball goes in early to the Westport forward line, I think they can cause damage.
So we're going to take our leave of you for a few minutes just to catch our breath and gather our thoughts. It's an arm wrestle. It is still very much there for the taking. At half time in the second of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship semi-finals, it's Belmullet 4 points, Westport 3. Don't go away, we'll be back very shortly. And you're very welcome back to James Stephens Park in Ballina. As you can see, Westport back out, ready to go. Just one piece of housekeeping to tell you about. It turns out the number 25 who mysteriously appeared during the second quarter is in fact Fionn Ryan, who I think from what we can gather, he may well have had his number 27 jersey torn in an off-the-ball incident. There he is, right in the centre of your picture. So he's had to dig a second jersey out of the Belmullet dugout. So by my maths, it means Dara Murray is without a jersey. So I'm not quite sure if that's a good sign from his point of view, Martin. If you don't have a jersey, it's unlikely you're going to be brought on, I think.
Well, I think you've been given your your P45, actually. Interesting, actually, from a Belmullet point of view. They have James Kelly out midfield. To me, he's been outstanding for them up to now. And just his ability to get up and down the field has been particularly impressive for Belmullet.
So away we go. Referee Kevin Kennelly gets the second half underway. Will it be Westport to get through to a first county senior final since 1991, or are Belmullet going to reach their first senior decider since 1981? That is the question that will more than likely be answered over the next half an hour. But of course, Martin, we might be able to separate them, and that's when things get extremely interesting.
That's for sure. But of the two teams at the moment, I think Westport are growing in confidence,
and they most certainly are. And that's Pat Lambert, who kicks his first point of the semi-final. It's the equaliser, and that means the teams are level for just the second time here at James Stephens Park in Ballina. And that means also that Westport have hit the last 2 points in a row now.
Yeah, and those 2 points actually have been from play. And just when they got the ball forward, they seem to have, that few more options available to them than Belmullet have when they get into attacking situations.
So Shane Nallen this time takes no chances, drives it long to the contest. Fionn Ryan was the target, broken down by Scott, and away goes Owen McLaughlin. Niall McManaman to his right, Pat Lambert, the scorer a moment ago, to his left. Lambert takes on the shot up into the bright sunshine, and James Regan underneath it. The umpire there in your picture flagging it as a wide ball. Westport's fourth miss of this semi-final.
Yeah, and that was a bad miss actually, Mike. They got forward very well from the broken ball that time. One of the features of that particular attack was the speed and pace of Owen McLaughlin. He set the move up very well, and Pat Lambert will be disappointed with the outcome. Poor effort actually.
Westport press high. Belmullet go long with the kick out. Again, they're looking for Ryan. There was a lot of holding going on. It was Evan Ivers, in fact, who was held, and Evan Ivers is now on the flat of his back. I think he was helped there, shall we say, by Owen McLaughlin. Now, the linesman on the far side is Shane Corcoran from Island 80. Kevin Kennelly is letting the play continue, but you could hear the reaction of the Belmullet crowd there. They wanted action to be taken. Now there's a Westport man stretched as well, just to the right of your picture. Now, that happened straight in front of the linesman. There is the man who's down. I think it's Alan Kennedy. And
yeah,
it's all getting a little bit ragged around the edges.
Yeah, it has been ragged too often in the game, actually. I think if Belmullet concentrated a little bit more on moving the ball forward, they're not deficient in fitness, they're not deficient by way of, shall we say, application, but just sometimes you just get that little bit negative and get tied up within themselves, and they're not maybe just, concentrating on their attacking game, which is quite impressive, in particular if they can get Ryan O'Donoghue involved in the match.
Alan Kennedy just being checked out there by Joe Dawson. The Westport physio just looks a little unsteady, Alan Kennedy. This incident comes 3 minutes into the second half. Westport have just drawn level. Still very much, though, a cat and mouse game, Martin, isn't it? It's completely different to last night's semi-final.
Yeah, it's too much fear in it, Mike. Both teams are very, very afraid of one another, are too respectful of one another. If they just kind of threw a little bit of the fear away, concentrated a little bit more on their attacking game, getting to the ball first, and actually kind of going for scores, I think, and free up the game a little bit, it would make for a much better spectacle, and I think it would bring the best out in both teams.
Dr. Mary Casey there from Westport and Joe Dawson just having a quick word with Kevin Kennelly. I think they're happy that Alan Kennedy can continue, and away we go. Look where Shane Nallen is. That's the Westport 45 he just went by a moment ago, and he stayed forward as well. There is literally nobody inside the Belmullet 45 right now. No backs, no forwards, and obviously no goalkeeper, because Shane Nallen has gone on his holidays up front for a few moments as Belmullet hold the ball. Fionn Ryan plays a wall pass, takes the return. Little bit of space opens up. He's got a man off his shoulder. It's a chance. They go low and they've got it. It's a goal for Marty Boylan. Well, he's only on the field since half time. He found a pocket of space in behind the Westport cover, and Marty Boylan shoots low and hard to the back of the net. And just like they've done all through the championship, Belmullet find a way to get a goal, and they lead here 1-4 to 4 points, and it all opened up, and it looks so easy, Martin.
It looks so easy, but you've got to credit Fionn Ryan. He held the ball up around the middle of the field, and all of a sudden then he drifted forward, but his vision in seeing Marty Boyle making that forward run and timing the pass to perfection before Boyle finished it was top class. He's one of the guys out there, if he got more involved, to my mind, he could be the difference between winning and losing.
Westport now try to respond. Colin Moran, and maybe, just maybe, that goal from Marty Boylan will spark this match to life, because now Westport have to come out and play again. Colin Moran leaves it 1-4 to 5 points.
Yeah, and again, Moran has responded again and again during the game. That's his third point actually in the game so far. He's been very effective for Westport. If they can bring him into the game more, he can finish. And that's a big issue out there. Get the ball to the guys who can finish.
He's having a great battle with Conan O'Connor as Evan Ivers goes highest to claim the kick-out. He's a great target man for the kick-outs from Nallen, but his delivery is poor. Right into the breadbasket of Lee Keegan, who pops it forward to Fionn McDonough. What a quiet game he's had. Owen O'Donoghue picking him up, Martin.
Yeah, Fionn McDonough has been actually struggling to get into the game, and Fionn McDonough has been struggling to get into the game, but it's down to great
lovely
marking.
Ball from Owen McLaughlin to Pat Lambert, and over it goes. Well, that in the blink of an eye shows you how dangerous these Westport forwards are. Belmullet lost the ball cheaply, turned over. Westport got the ball into the right man's hands, and that's a second point for Pat Lambert, and that's 2 in a row for Westport since they conceded the goal. And a change being made by Martin Calvey. Number 20 Mark Moran is in. Number 9 Shane Scott comes off, and they're going to try a different approach, Martin, now at this stage, Westport.
Well, I think that goal has freed the game up somewhat, and Westport in their last 2 attacks actually have showed great enterprise and great accuracy in their finishing. And what I'm interested and fascinated with now is actually the appearance of Mark Moore on the field. To me, he's one of the shall we say, the great talents in this county that we really haven't seen blossom yet.
I gather he's carrying an injury that just means he hasn't got the full 60 minutes in him these days. He's finding it difficult to get fully fit, just the nature of the muscle injury he has. But he's in now, some 7 minutes into the second half to try and effect some change here. Belmullet's still ahead, 1-4 to 6, but Westport have responded very positively to the Marty Boylan goal, as now Belmullet make a change. Number 12, Patrick Cowman, is on, and they're taking out number 11, Dahi Cosgrove. So it's a like-for-like replacement there. Cowman for Cosgrove, as I suppose legs start to tire a little, and both Damien Mulligan and Martin Calvey look for the advantage. Owen McLaughlin drives through, delivers it just the way Colin Moran likes it, and there is the equaliser. 4 points, all from play from Colin Moran.
And again, great work there that time by midfielder, I think it was Owen McLaughlin, the way he drove forward and found Moran. And Belmullet have to do something about Colin Moran. He's just managed to get free, he's managed to get into the pockets of space, but the great thing from a Westport point of view, any time he gets it, he doesn't think about it. He just turns and puts the ball over the bar. That's his fourth from play.
It took Westport 3 minutes to wipe out that goal advantage Belmullet had gained, as Paddy O'Malley comes out to sit in the half-back line and just deny Shane Nallen an option. He went the other side, won by Pat Lambert. Westport are spending more and more time now inside the Belmullet half. Lovely ball from Mark Moran to the brother Cullum. Tried to return the favour, but intercepted by a Belmullet defender, and Shane Nallen will try and carry it clear. This county senior semi-final is balanced on a knife edge as Nallen decides to execute a fairly treacherous 3-point turn there as he tried to come out of defence. Bottled up was Marty Boylan, the goal scorer, and this time it's Westport's turn to celebrate the turnover and celebrate the free against Boylan for overcarrying.
Yeah, you would look at actually that, shall we say, Belmullet goal by Marty Boylan in the 4th minute nearly as a blip on the trend of the game so far in the second half, because really it has been all Westport, and they're playing very, very good football. They're busier, they're hungrier. The work rate they showed that time and actually turning the ball over was impressive. And now Alan Kennedy's a good opportunity of scoring.
Alan Kennedy with his second free of the semi-final, and that now means that Westport have hit 4 in a row since they conceded the goal, and they're back in front.
Yeah, and it's very like when you think about it, they got 4 in a row, all within a matter of 4 minutes actually. But every time they attack now, they're opening up the Belmullet rear guard, and Belmullet just need to get a ball around the middle of the field. They need to get Ryan O'Donoghue into the game, but the way I'm looking out there at the moment, Keegan is keeping an eye on him.
Westport are ahead, by the way, for the first time in this semi-final right now. Owen O'Donoghue is picking up Mark Moran. Down at the other end, Belmullet are on the attack. Man trying to drive through here is Cowman, the substitute. Support outside as Belmullet try to find a way through. This is Kieran Conway. Good, strong ball carrier. Hung on for as long as he could. Help from Ryan. And then Conway goes back as far as Shea O'Donoghue. Wrong foots. Oisin McLaughlin with a quick swivel of the hips. Inside to the unmarked teammate, that was Cowman. I'm not quite sure if he was far enough away to claim a mark there, but he got away with it.
I think he was. He just about, Mike. It was touch and go, very much borderline, but he got away with it. He's a good opportunity now to steady the ship for Belmullet in front of the goals. It
was a clever call by Cowman. He's left that short, though. Gathered back there by Fionn McDonough. Sensible piece of play by the young half-forward, but Belmullet unable to finish. And again, just to remind you, since the 16th minute of the first half, Belmullet's only score has been that goal from Marty Boylan. They're finding it very difficult to get Ryan O'Donoghue on the ball and to put scores on the board. And Ryan O'Donoghue is right now watching with the rest of us as number 20, Mark Moran, hits the deck. Owen O'Donoghue looks the picture of innocence, and Kevin Kennelly wants a word.
Yeah, it was a silly free. There was no real badness in it. He just kind of... Mark Moran was going down for the ball. It's a situation where as a defender, you let him get the ball, but you don't go in on top of him and actually concede a free. The free may be out on the sideline all right, but Owen O'Donoghue could have done without a card at this stage.
Martin, I was just going to make the point. How do Belmullet get Ryan O'Donoghue into the game? Right now, where would you put him? How would you get him on more ball?
I'd get him out around the middle of the field, get him around the half-forward line. OK, Keegan will go out and play with him. But at the moment, he cuts a very frustrated figure in at the edge of the D. He's, not getting any possession. The only way he's going to get it is by going further out the field, because they don't play a silent ball that puts quick ball into the full forward line. And it doesn't suit him being in there, given the silent outfield play that they have.
Damien Mulligan has just made another change. By the way, number 10, James O'Donnell, is on, and that looks like it may be Conan O'Connor.
And you have an expected Belmullet crowd over there in the stand, just raring to see more from their team.
Yeah, that was a wasted opportunity by Westport to make some inroads. Belmullet crowd celebrate the turnover, but their team now need to show more adventure as they go forward, and they need quite simply to get their talisman Ryan O'Donoghue into this game by hook or by crook. But James O'Donnell is on, Patrick Cowman is on, and Marty Boylan too. Damien Mulligan throwing in fresh legs, some fresh ideas into his attack. Cowman under pressure from Brickenden, and Brickenden just overstepped the mark, and he knew it. Belmullet get a free, and because Rory Brickenden just didn't get out of Belmullet's road quickly enough, ball is moved forward by Kevin Kennelly an extra 13 metres. Shane Nallen has called out here, and that's why Shea O'Donoghue has dropped the ball on the ground. Nallen wants to take a shot at goal, as in close to goal. I think there were 3 men on the ground at one stage.
Yeah, and I don't know, again, Kevin Kennelly is going into his umpires to see what happened there, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's cards issued in this situation, because one of the features that he doesn't want to see becoming embedded in the game, there was a certain amount of it certainly during the game earlier on, but he doesn't want to see kind of off the ball pulling down becoming a feature of it.
Well, he's got 2 good men in there to consult with. The former Hollymount footballers Ardal Jennings and Matthew Gill. They have been keeping a close eye on what was going on in front of the goal, and I think the advice is it was much ado about nothing. No action taken, no cards. Everybody gets up and gets on with it. As Shane Nallen surveys the landscape, he's come all the way up from the goal to have a kick at this. It's right in front of us. He's about 55 metres out. Oh, that's a sweet strike. It had the distance, but it just arrows away to the left. Another missed chance for Belmullet, and they remain behind. That's their third wide.
Yeah, it was well struck, all right, but not accurately. And again, another opportunity wasted for Belmullet. Maybe too far out, actually, to go for the score.
We're in the 15th minute of the second half, and it is a perilous 1-point lead that Westport have here. We're watching the County Intermediate Champions of 2016 Westport against the County Intermediate Champions of 2018 Belmullet. Both of them trying to take the big step to a senior final. Both of them looking to line up a shot at Knockmore in a fortnight as Owen McLaughlin fouls Ryan O'Donoghue, who for the first time in a long time gets his hands on the ball.
Exactly, Mike. That is the first time I've seen Ryan O'Donoghue win a 50-50 ball, actually, for nearly all of the game. But it's a long time since we've seen him in possession. He's taking responsibility now for the place kick. It's, about 40 metres out or so. But it's important from a Belmullet point of view that he is more involved.
Takes, again, his time, takes great care. It's dropped short. It's spilled by Keegan. There's a bit of a pile-up in front of the Westport goal. Loose ball pulled on Paddy O'Malley. Threw himself down on it. And Kevin Kennelly blows the whistle. Free out. Westport get the free. Well, it was pinballing around there for a moment or two. But credit to Paddy O'Malley. He got his body on top of it and gets his free.
Yeah, and you think, speaking of frees, Mike, that's the last two opportunities that Belmullet have had in the last couple of moments. Frees from either side of the field, one by Shane Allen and one that time by Ryan O'Donoghue. One went wide, one is dropped short. And there again, in a low-scoring game, in a tight game like this, those opportunities have to be taken if you're to win.
Well, Westport won't need reminding. They got to a county semi-final last year, came up short against Brafey. Belmullet haven't been at this stage of the competition for 35 years. This is new territory for them, and right now the little things going against them. Free to Westport, quickly taken. Fionn McDonough's gone through. Somebody switched off. McDonough, he really should have scored. Away to the left and wide. 5 wides for Westport, and there have been 5 bad wides, Martin.
5 bad wides that time, and again, O'Donoghue was kind of, shall we say, too intent on grappling with Mark Moran, who has given O'Donoghue a lot more problems actually since he has come in, but in doing that he neglected his defensive duties, and the wide though that resulted from a Westport point of view was a bad miss.
Yeah, they're having a great tussle, O'Donoghue and Moran there. You can see them in your picture, number 6 and number 20. As Nallen again has to go long. Westport are giving nothing up short. They're forcing Nallen to kick to the contest as McDonough, who in the last 5 or 10 minutes, credit where it's due, Martin, has come more and more into the game, claims possession from the kick-out.
Yeah, well, they have got 4 or 5 stellar players, and McDonough is one of them, but he is around the middle of the field, become more and more involved. That time he drew the foul of Evan Ivers, who's beginning to struggle somewhat, and Westport are now getting the possession going forward that they need.
Paul Lambert, he's looking for Mark Moran, bounces clear. First man to react was Shea O'Donoghue to Owen, and Owen O'Donoghue up the line to Kieran Conway, who for the umpteenth time will try and make some headway down the left wing. Back to Owen O'Donoghue again. Looks around, nothing on short, so he goes long, drills it into Ryan O'Donoghue. Now this is where O'Donoghue is dangerous. He's gone down. That's surely a penalty. It's a free at the very least.
Well, it's on the margins of it, but again he just teased Lee Keegan that time, took him on. Fabulous bit of attacking play by O'Donoghue, and Keegan surprisingly panicked a little bit and pulled him down. It's a 30-metre free, but by God, that was right on the margins.
Oh, that was on the borderline, and we were also watching to see would there be a card for Keegan, and there isn't. And there wasn't, and Belmullet are furious because Ryan O'Donoghue had Lee Keegan backpedaling there, and he was taken down in full flight. It's a free, and Ryan O'Donoghue swings over the equaliser. We're 19 minutes in to this second half of the second semi-final. That's the signal for the water break, and we're none the wiser.
None the wiser, and that's their first score actually in 14 minutes. That's Belmullet's first score, I think, since their goal. And again, it's been quite a fallow period for them. But that time, Westport were lucky actually. I think that Keegan wasn't issued a second card. Whatever colour it was going to be, it would have ultimately been a red card. But I thought that was definitely a yellow card offence.
So we're level for the fourth time. And the longer it stays like this, Martin, the more there's an inevitability almost about it, isn't there? That they may not be separated. They won't be separated after an hour because it's so close.
It's very, very close. It's very cat and mouse, very cagey, all the old cliches. But there's no doubt about it. It's very hard to separate the teams. It's very hard to predict who'll win it. If I was to give my tuppence opinion on it, I think that if Westport gets sufficient ball forward, they have the quality up front to win the game. But they're not doing that enough. They have a little bit more variation to their attack. They have a more kind of, shall we say, match winners than Belmullet. But what was interesting, Mike, we talked about it a few times, how Ryan O'Donoghue wasn't getting into the game enough. But in the last few minutes, remember he drew a free out on the far side. He drew a free inside that time when he took Keegan on. If they can get him onto the ball, then by God, anything is possible for them.
And at this stage of the game, he only needs one chance. He just needs one chance. The ball could be in the back of the net and history could be made, but he is being marked by Keegan. It was the matchup so many people were looking forward to, and it hasn't disappointed. Every time the ball goes in their direction, Martin, everyone's glued to it.
Everyone is glued to it, and I noticed at that time Ryan O'Donoghue was glued to Kevin Kennelly, wondering where was the card man. But he had words there with Kevin Kennelly, I'd say, just querying maybe that last decision or lack of decision. But it doesn't matter. I think Keegan is back on O'Donoghue, so that little kind of, shall we say, cameo is going to continue.
So away we go again. The fourth and final quarter has begun. We're in the 21st minute. Fierce battle for possession out here in front of us. That's a big hit on Ivers. Ball popped up out of his arms and the free goes to Westport. And this time it's the Westport supporters on this side of the ground who raise the roof in celebration. Dever makes himself available for the short pass. Keelan Deffer heads across field. There are men making themselves available. One of them is Fionn McDonough. Paddy O'Malley is behind him if he needs him. Kevin Kennelly is playing an advantage here as McDonough pirouettes out of the tackle and plays it up the line to Oisín McLaughlin. A lot of movement ahead of him, but Oisín has his work cut out trying to go by Colin Barrett, and in fact he can't, and that's a big win for the Belmullet captain.
A big win for the Belmullet captain, and here again a big win back for Westport.
Possession lost on the way out again. Colin Moran to Alan Kennedy. He's reversing into James O'Donnell. He's surrounded. Free out. He held on too long. Good scramble defence by Belmullet. And just look who's there in the thick of it. Ryan O'Donoghue.
Ryan O'Donoghue, yeah. We were saying that earlier. If they could get him involved more in the game, and the best way to do that was bring him out, then they certainly have every chance of winning.
Again, though, the ball out of the Belmullet defence is poor. James Kelly was given too much to do, and Keegan has won it back. He's gone forward in pursuit of Ryan O'Donoghue. Plays a 1-2 with Mark Moran and returns the pass. Moran coming in along the end line, skips by the first man, stopped by Owen O'Donoghue. He's looking for McDonough, but there was just not enough on the pass. Intercepted by Marty Boylan, and away go Belmullet again. Colin Barrett, Marty Boylan sprints down the right-hand side. Did well to control that ball. It fell awkwardly down around his bootlaces. He's fouled by Brickenden, and Belmullet lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, great composed play, wonderful composed play that time by Marty Boylan. Winning the ball first of all, playing the 1-2, attacking with it, and again drawing the free. And Belmullet now are making another change actually.
Yeah, Daniel Barrett, number 20, is in to replace number 15, Jason Boylan. Damien Mulligan is rolling the dice every way he knows to try and eke out what might just be the match-winning score, because right now these teams cannot be separated. We're in the 23rd minute of the second half here in Ballina, and still we have deadlock. Belmullet, who still haven't scored a point from play. All 5 of their white flags have been raised by Ryan O'Donoghue frees, but they have done enough to be on level terms And everything now is so crucial. Every call a big call. Kevin Kennelly gives the free to Westport, has a word with Shea O'Donoghue, and the boys in blue will start all over again. Keegan takes a toe tap just to invite in James O'Donnell. Recycles it back to Niall McManaman again. Now Keelan Dever. Brian McDermott drives by on his left shoulder. Back to Dever again. Westport have moved inside the Belmullet 45 with the minimum of effort. There's two men on the ground wrestling with each other. Play continues. This is Paul Lambert. Gets right underneath it. Chasing after it is Mark Moran. Great take. In fact, it's Colm Moran. Lost it in the tackle. Turned into two defenders. And it's Owen McHale who's brought down. Well, some 50 yards away, there were two men grappling on the ground. They've managed to be separated. It's all happening. You'd want eyes in the back of your head. On the ball is Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yeah, any time off the ball runs are being made, fouls are being committed, and again, at that time, very good defending though, must be said, from a Belmullet point of view, when I thought once more a score was on.
Now, Martin, this is interesting. Shane Corcoran, the linesman, has called across Kevin Kennelly, and I can only assume that's in relation to that incident a moment ago.
Exactly, and again, it's late for that to happen, actually. That should have happened a couple of moments ago, during the beginning of that build-up, but there was two men, as you said, in commentary, Mike, grappling on the ground. Clearly, the attention has been brought to Kevin Kennelly, and he's having a word with Keelan Dever.
Yeah, he didn't have to go far to find the first man he was looking for anyway. I'm not sure if he's looking for a second man or not, but he's found Keelan Dever. And Keelan is in the book in the 25th minute of the second half. He is, by the looks of things, trying to track down another man, or is he?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
You usually find in these cases, Martin, it takes two to tango, but maybe not this time.
No, the linesman is pointing to where the other culprit is, and Kevin Kennelly is making his way in there, I think, to have a word with. I'm not quite sure at the moment. Is it Shea O'Donoghue? No, it's not him.
No, it's number 20, Daniel Barrett, who had just come into the match a few minutes ago. So he's being spoken to by Kevin Kennelly, who has certainly earned his bowl of soup and a sandwich today. Yellow for Daniel as well.
And fair play to him. His refereeing has been generally very good. He imposes authority from the opening whistle. There's been a certain amount of messing, but none of the lawlessness that I saw here the last day between Brafey and Belmullet.
Well, number 22, Ben Doyle, is on for Westport. He has had issues with injuries recently. Ben, you can see his left knee is very heavily strapped, but he's needed at this stage, and it's Luke Tunney who's been taken out. So 4 minutes of normal time to play. Will we have a winner? Is this going to go the distance and more? Will we have extra time? Ryan O'Donoghue back to Colin Barrett. You could cut the tension with a knife. It just has the feel that the next score could well win it.
Next score is vital, actually. Again, this time running through, not for
the first time. Great run by Owen McHale. He's gone all the way through. Westport men back off, and Owen McHale kicks it high and over the bar, and Belmullet have hit the front in the 57th minute of this county semi-final. But what a run from Owen McHale. I'm not quite sure where he got the energy, but he just kept going. Westport backed off, and McHale hits the target.
Yeah, great leadership, great taking responsibility by him, but a good response now immediately from Westport.
Brickenden to Colm Moran, the go-to man. Moran gets under it though, and he's miscued it, and it ends up going well wide of the Belmullet goal. Wide number 6 for Westport.
Yeah, but just going back to that last score, actually, that Owen McHale got, just the Westport defence opened up in front of him. I think he got surprised himself that he got through so easily. And again, but took responsibility, hit a good score. And now this game is, shall we say, Belmullet's to lose.
And a Belmullet man down now with 3 minutes of normal time to play. He's being checked on there. I think that's Roland McIntyre that's making sure he's all right. But Belmullet, dare we say it, Martin, they're on the brink. Haven't been to a county senior final since 81. Haven't played in a semi-final at this grade since 86. This would be epic if they can just hang on for 5 or 6 minutes here.
Oh no, it's a great opportunity for them, but they're playing with great understanding actually of each other's play when they get the ball. But that time the composure of Owen McHale is what struck me. The leadership that he showed in taking the, driving the forward, taking the responsibility, then that lovely composed finish, and that certainly puts them in the driving seat. Just trying to see who's down at the moment, Mike.
It's number 22. That's Owen McHale, the man who kicked the lead score a few minutes ago. Yeah. And Martin, he's shown us again today, Owen, hasn't he, why he is so highly regarded and why James Horan had him in the Mayo senior panel earlier this year. He definitely has an awful lot of what you need to play inter-county football.
Yeah, and I think is he going off right now, and Leo Hegarty, I think it is, who's coming on.
Yeah, Belmullet have made that change, 17 for 22. But what a shift McHale has put in.
Oh, he's been outstanding for Belmullet.
So the game restarts after that brief stoppage with 90 seconds of normal time to play, and then we'll be into additional time. Oisin McLaughlin gets his hands dirty and wins that dirty ball. One of his teammates is slow getting to his feet just behind him. That's Brian McDermott. And Westport get the free, but it won't be taken just yet because Westport are making a change. They're bringing in number 19, Conor Calvey, and they're taking out number 17, Oisin McLaughlin.
Yeah, Oisin McLaughlin has some very impressive moments, but in the second half maybe hasn't been as involved as he would like to have been.
Well, it's all very straightforward now. With a minute of normal time to play, plus whatever additional time we hear about, and if Belmullet can keep it as it is, they're going to the county final, and it'll be an all North Mayo county final back here in a fortnight. If Westport get a score of their own, well then we're back to the drawing board. It's Brian McDermott. He tried to pull on it first time, but he was under pressure. It was Ryan O'Donoghue who was back there making a nuisance of himself and just making life uncomfortable for McDermott, and he slices that shot away to the right and wide. Excellent. 7 wides for Westport.
7 wides, but excellent defending by Ryan O'Donoghue and by, I think, Conan O'Connor as well. Really putting pressure on the Westport lads, who again just lacked that little bit of assuredness when the opportunity arose.
Martin, the good news is 6 more minutes of this to come. We're going to have 6 minutes of additional time. I can only imagine what the atmosphere is like in households all across Belmullet and Westport at the moment, and further afield as well, where Belmullet and Westport natives are watching this game. It is going the distance.
There's a wonderful
as
tackle.
Ryan O'Donoghue picks the pocket of Mark Moran and breaks away down the field. Belmullet looking to get the insurance score. Hearing after this is Daniel Barrett. He's going to shoot. He takes it on, and he's kicked it over the bar. Daniel Barrett, Belmullet's very own super sub, has kicked the outsiders 2 points clear in injury time at the end of this semi-final, and Belmullet take another big step towards another big scalp, Martin.
Oh yeah, but the vision that time, the quality of the pass that Ryan O'Donoghue gave him was out of the top drawer. But Barrett's assuredness, to be honest with you, I thought Barrett panicked a bit by taking on the opportunity, but no, he put it straight between the posts. As a vital score.
1-7 plays 8 points. They've both put 8 scores on the board, but crucially that Marty Boylan goal has given Belmullet a little bit of breathing space. We're in the 32nd minute and it's not over yet. Belmullet getting their second win now. Ivers it is, who's been fouled on his way up the field, and he bounces back to his feet with his fist clenched. They're in phenomenal shape, Belmullet. They are fit as fiddles. They are conditioned to go the full hour and more, and Ryan O'Donoghue is leading the charge again. Tries to take the shortest route to goal, but he's run into a wall of Westport men. There's a fierce scramble in front of Kevin Kennelly, and he says you were all at it. He's going to throw the ball up into the air.
Yeah, but the little generalissimo again, Ryan O'Donoghue taking the ball on, lost it, but make sure that Westport didn't get the advantage from it. Westport
are on the ropes. 32 minutes played, about 4 to go. There's still time if they can get the right kind of ball into Colm Moran and Alan Kennedy in there in front of the goal. But Lee Keegan right now is finding it difficult to spot a man in space. He lets it in front of Colm Moran, who grabs it, doesn't call the mark, decides to play on in towards Lambert. Pat Lambert trying to lose Owen O'Donoghue. Doubling up on him there was the substitute who forces him a little wider. Kennedy soloing on the spot, and now Mark Moran. Belmullet are forcing them wider and wider, close to the sideline. Keegan has it. He's going to take on the shot. They need a score. Keegan trying to bring it in, and Lee Keegan with a terrific point off the outside of his right boot for the umpteenth time this season, let alone in his career. He has come up with a big score in a big moment, and it's a 1-point game. With 3 minutes to go, Belmullet man down. We'll have another stoppage.
Yeah, that was a wonderful score by Keegan. But again, you have to credit the work, maybe. I think it was Mark Moran did in the lead up to that. But, we thought today maybe, the conditions today have been excellent. Some of the football at times has been top quality. But when you get a top quality player like that, Lee Keegan, getting into a threatening situation when a vital score is needed, you can bet on him and getting it.
Well, Belmullet have got to this stage of the competition without running up big scores, but they've always got enough to get the job done. Drew with Charlestown, beat Knockmore, beat Brafey, and of course beat Ahamore as well along the way, and right now they are literally minutes away from taking down Westport and going to the county final. There's another injury, there's another stoppage, and this will suit Belmullet down to the ground.
Suit them to the ground, and I noticed actually James Kelly, when that player, number 23, I think it was, Kieran Cowan, went down, James Kelly was like a kind of shall we say, a conductor in an orchestra, just stay down, stay down, stay down. They just want to slow down the game as much as possible, break up the rhythms of it, but definitely the ball is in their court at the moment.
Well, the huge crowd here in Ballina have got their money's worth, that's for sure. We hope viewers of Mayo GA TV have enjoyed it just as much. But it has been a good old-fashioned humdinger of a club championship game. Nobody prepared to blink, not just yet. Nobody prepared to give an inch as play restarts. Owen O'Donoghue to Ryan O'Donoghue, the two men who have driven Belmullet forward to this stage. Ball lost by Westport. Belmullet are in around the back. It's a chance of a goal, and it's taken. Ryan O'Donoghue has sealed Belmullet's place in the county final with another golden goal. And Westport have been rocked right back in their heels again.
A fabulous goal, and it couldn't be a more appropriate scorer than Ryan O'Donoghue. He's been magnificent for them with limited possession, but that time he just held his nerve, executed his little sidestep, ball in the net. That's, I think, Westport State, or Belmullet State, it's fair to say, Mike. It's
come exactly 5 minutes into stoppage time, and the team that have made such a habit of upsetting the odds, of tearing up the form book and the script all season long, well, they're about to do it again. The team that Damien Mulligan has painstakingly built over the last 3 or 4 seasons, well, they have came, seen, and they're about to conquer Westport, the team that so many people felt were ready to take that next step, were ready to take on Knockmore in a county final. Well, Belmullet have proven otherwise. They have finished like a train. The points from Owen McHale and Daniel Barrett, and the goal from Ryan O'Donoghue were in the 7th minute of additional time. Kevin Kennelly takes a long look at the watch. Westport will keep on keeping on, and they'll keep on in search of scores that will give them every chance, give them a fighting chance as long as the game continues. Pat Lambert squeezes it outside towards Kennedy. There was a slight mix-up in communication there between Kennedy and McDonough, and Alan Kennedy holds his head in his hands. He knows they couldn't afford that slip-up. They couldn't afford that mistake. Belmullet are bringing on another sub, number 24. That's, well, Shane Nallen, it's telling us in the programme, is number 24. We'll have to call in backup Martin to find out who he is, but it will run down the clock.
It'll run down the clock another little bit, but they have been the team that has shown all the composure in the later stages of the game. When you think about it, it was 1-5 to 8 points at one stage, after about 18 minutes, but in the last 17 minutes or so, Belmullet's goals, I think I've made, Belmullet's goal, that one in particular by Ryan O'Donoghue, has been absolutely a game winner.
Well, a game changer. He is the player who brings the X factor, Ryan O'Donoghue. And while he was wrapped up for so long by Keegan, in the end he got his goal. It's all over. and Belmullet celebrate a famous day, a glorious day in their club's history. And wait for it, they're going to their first county senior football final since 1981. It was their last final, it was their first final. They finished second best to the great Gary Moore team that day, but Damien Mulligan and the team of 2021 will feel they have a right chance of making history all over again, and maybe, just maybe, winning their first Moclair Cup. They'll meet Knockmore back here in Ballina in 2 weeks' time. Westport's season, their championship dream is over. Lee Keegan will not get to lift the Moclair Cup this season. Belmullet win. Deservedly
so,
and they go to a county final, Martin.
Yeah, they played with pace, they played with energy. They had the likes of Ryan O'Donoghue, who when he got into the game, and he exercised a major influence on proceedings. He orchestrated an awful lot what was good for them, but they were that little bit more assured, I think, than Westport. They played with a greater jizz, and defensively they were stubborn, they were unyielding, and when they got the ball forward, I know it was a low-scoring game and it was hard to kind of get scores, but when they got forward, they were able to penetrate the Westport defence quite easily on the two occasions that they got their goals. Okay, you can say the game was edgy, the game was frantic, but I think their game management, Mike, Belmullet's game management was that little bit superior to Westport's, and when they got forward, they were more decisive and they were more resourceful in terms of the way they used their players, and they were more decisive when opportunities arose, and they fully deserved their victory. That's two huge scalps they've taken, Brafey in the last game and Westport in this game, and they'll go into that final with every optimism that they can win it.
Martin, I'm just looking at my notes here. The last 28 minutes of that game, Belmullet outscoring Westport 1-3 to a solitary point. It tells an awful lot of the story. It
tells an awful lot of the story, and I get you that 1 point, actually, Mike. I think that was scored by Westport. Was scored by who? Lee Keegan. One of the defenders. I thought myself with Colin Moore and with Mark Moore up there that they had the wherewithal, that they had the quality actually to make the difference. Alan Kennedy, I think, didn't exercise the influence that I would have hoped from a Westport point of view he would have today. And as well as that, maybe McDonough maybe moved too far back. He moved back into the midfield area in the second half, but they will be disappointed with the return from their forward line in the second half, whereas with fewer opportunities, Belmullet were so much more decisive and basically so much more convincing when the opportunities arose.
Martin, I'll get your selection for man of the match in just a moment before we're invaded by half the parish of Belmullet. But right. before I do, I just want to ask you, for the likes of Eamon Dixon and Shane Nallen and Roland McIntyre and Anthony Mills and all those guys involved with this team under Damien Mulligan, what does it mean to them? We talked about it earlier. They haven't played in a county final since 81. As you said, it was their first and last. Yeah. And to go back there again after all these years.
Well, I went down to Blacksod last week. I had a lovely 2 or 3 hours down in Shonagallachor at the head of the Blacksod Peninsula. And I love going up to the Carrataig area. That probably wouldn't be in their catchment area. But if anybody wants to look at a part of the county that is beyond beauty, it's Belmullet. Now, their football maybe at times lacks a bit of beauty, but by Jesus, it lacks nothing in heart. It lacks nothing in passion, and it lacks nothing in will to win. And that will to win was evident today, Mike, from the word go. They were combative, they were edgy in fairness the way they went about it. They set the law down from the word go, and compliment Kevin Kennelly in the way he reacted to all of that. But for them, it's a huge occasion. You can imagine people watching it in this today from all over the world that are from the area. The pride they will feel in this, the actual pride in seeing their represented, their young men who have remained in the area playing the way they played today. It's a huge opportunity for them. As you said, Mike, 40 years since they were last there. There's Padder Gardner, I noticed out there.
An adopted Belmullet man now.
An adopted Belmullet. Does huge work with young people in the county, but by Jesus, those young people that he was with there today, I'll tell you, both himself and Damien Mulligan deserve great credit in getting them to play with the self-belief that was evident as the game went on. Because, Mike, when you think about it, the further the game went on, the more they grew in confidence, and the more it looked likely that they were the ones that were going to win.
Martin, put us out of our misery. Who's your man of the match?
Oh, my man of the match has to be Ryan O'Donoghue. Not in the game a lot, in fairness to him, but when he was, his contributions were decisive. And that composure that he showed in getting that vital goal at the end, you just have to take your hat off to him. Yeah, there was other guys that played very well. I was very impressed with James Kelly, number 5, in the first half. Very impressed with O'Donoghue in his kind of holding role at centre half back. But again, when that little spark of creativity, when that little spark of decisiveness was demanded and needed for his team late in the match, I think Ryan O'Donoghue basically came up with it.
So Ryan O'Donoghue, who finished with 1-5 for Belmullet, is Martin's selection for man of the match. The celebrations, I can only imagine, have begun all across the Erris Peninsula, certainly in that corner occupied by Belmullet. And the good news is the victorious cavalcade will be back home, I would imagine, within the next hour or two, once they take the selfies, greet the well-wishers and soak in the moment. Westport's great run in this championship is over. Belmullet march on to play Knockmore in an all-North Mayo County Senior Football Final back here at James Stephens Park, Ballina, this day fortnight. All that remains for us to do at this stage is to recap on the final score and just also send our sincere thanks to P. Egan Commercials and Gills for helping us to facilitate the broadcast here in Ballina this afternoon. We really appreciate their help and support. Final scoreline once again, a scoreline that will be etched in history in the record books for Belmullet GA Club. Belmullet 2 goals and 7, Westport 9 points.